Guys, we have breaking news as Matt Stafford has reportedly requested a trade from the Detroit Lions. Yes, you heard me correctly. Matt Stafford officially wants out. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL. Here to talk about this breaking news. I just got the report from Tom Pelleroso of the NFL Network, who tweeted this out. So we know it is a legitimate, verified source saying that Matt Stafford has requested a trade from the Detroit Lions. So I want to talk about this with you guys. Obviously, there's a lot to get into here. What could happen with Matt Stafford in terms of the teams that could trade for him? Where do I think he potentially ends up? Let's get into all that and more. Before I do, if you're new to the channel, make sure to go ahead and subscribe, guys, because I do talk a lot of NFL on this channel and you don't want to miss out. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Go ahead and follow me on my social media links down below for my Twitter, Instagram, all that. This is where I found it on Twitter. You guys are going to want to follow me on there. So again, there's a lot to get into, man. Let's talk about it. So I literally had made a video about Matt Stafford potentially wanting out of Detroit a couple days ago. And now we actually get the report that it's true. He wants out. So I had kind of warmed you guys up to this, okay? And now it's come out to be true that Matt Stafford has actually requested a trade from the Detroit Lions, like officially, okay? He's officially said to the Lions, I want out. And it's funny because we know the bigger name on the market has been Deshaun Watson, and he hasn't even sent in his formal trade request to the Texans, but Matt Stafford now has. So Matt Stafford's beaten him in that, and we all thought it would be Deshaun Watson who would have done it by now. And so we obviously are still waiting on that. But let's talk about this Matt Stafford news, folks, because this is huge. This is monumental. And let me say right off the bat, Lions fans, you might hate me for saying this, but I salute Matt Stafford for willing to ask out. Folks, this is the problem with the NFL that I don't see with the NBA is the NFL players get very little say in where they want to play. Now, even in the NBA and any other sport or most other sports, where you get drafted, you do have to spend the first couple of years there. But Matt Stafford's done more than just that. He spent his entire career with Detroit. And we know that organization has not held up their end of the bargain. The Lions have been a train wreck pretty much their entire existence, folks. We've had Hall of Famers walk out and retire rather than playing for the Lions. We know Barry Sanders, Megatron, a.k.a. Calvin Johnson. So Matt Stafford is just adding to that list. And the reason I salute Matt Stafford for this is because Matt Stafford is a warrior. This is a guy who I have a lot of respect for because he always, goes all out for his team. And we even saw at the end of the season, he was playing meaningless games because he just wanted to be out there for these guys. But there comes a point where you got to put yourself ahead of the team. Sometimes you have to be selfish for your own career, okay? And this is Matt Stafford knowing, hey, I've been in the league for a number of years. I haven't done anything significant in terms of winning. Now it's time for me to actually go out there and not waste the few good years I have left. Now, Matt Stafford is still only 32, even though he feels like he's been in the league forever. And you would have thought he's like 35, 36. But Matt Stafford's 32. He's still in his prime, but we know he's on the back end of it. So Matt Stafford still has some good years left, but he's like, why don't I put those good years to use on a team that actually will be able to contend for something? So that's why I'm saying I salute Matt Stafford for that. The Lions just hired a new head coach. They need to rebuild. They need to restart it. Even for the Lions, man. Like, when you have a quarterback like Matt Stafford, you don't want to rebuild because you don't want to waste years of Stafford's career. And that's exactly what's holding the Lions back from even becoming good. They need a fresh start. So I think this is great for both the Lions and Matt Stafford. More so Matt Stafford than the Lions because you always want a quarterback. But for Matt Stafford, I salute him for wanting out and wanting something better for himself. Now, let's talk about Matt Stafford and his potential suitors. And there's going to be a lot. Matt Stafford has 2 years left on his deal, $40 million plus. That's a bargain for a quarterback of his talent and what he brings to the table. So he's not going to have any shortage of suitors. But more so with Matt Stafford, it's going to be all about what he wants. Now with Deshaun Watson's considerably younger, and so he can wait a little bit for a team that maybe isn't ready to compete right away, even though I think Deshaun Watson still wants to win now, and he should go to a team that wants to win now. But Matt Stafford absolutely needs to go to a team that wants to win now and is ready to win now. So when you take a look at the suitors out there, there's a lot of them, and so who really makes the most sense? So let's talk about that. All right, so let's talk about his list of suitors. And I've got a list right here where I'm going to go through with you guys and do an exercise. So check this out. This is the list of teams I believe that need a quarterback right now. Now, there are some teams like the Eagles that I haven't included on here where, like, you say, yeah, they still need a quarterback, but I'm pretty sure they're going to go with Wentz or Hurts, right? And so with their cap situation, doesn't really make sense. The Patriots, Dolphins, Jets, Colts, Broncos, 49ers, Bears, Washington football team, Saints with Drew Brees retiring, and the Rams. These are either teams that need a quarterback or are unhappy with their current quarterback. So let's go through this list and cross off teams that do not make sense. And remember, Matt Stafford wants to win now, and you got to be able to give up some draft capital to get him, and you got to be able to afford him with his salary cap. So just go down this list. The Rams don't have the salary cap space to afford him. Then we take a look at these teams. New England Patriots, they're not ready to win now in terms of if you just add Matt Stafford. Are the Patriots a Super Bowl contender? No, they need more weapons around Matt Stafford. So I can't see the Patriots. Again, Dolphins, I'm just not sold that they're going to move on from Tua that quickly. I don't think the Jets with Matt Stafford are a Super Bowl contender. I don't think the Jets have enough talent yet. The Colts, absolutely. The Broncos, yes. The 49ers, yes. The Bears, yes. Washington football team, yes. And the Saints, yes. So that's essentially his list of suitors here. Where we're talking about teams that have the talent right now. You add Matt Stafford to these teams, I believe they become Super Bowl contenders. And they also have the cap space and the draft capital. Okay? So these are all intriguing options. The one thing I will say with the Bears, myself being a Bears fan, is the Bears are a division team. And so you would think, okay, the Lions probably don't want to trade Matt Stafford to somebody they're going to play 2 times a year. They probably want to deal him and ship him off to the AFC so they never have to see him. But again, it depends on the offer. So here are the teams, again, and this is what I think is kind of what Matt Stafford might be looking at. Now, just from this list of teams here, who stands out to me? Remember, we said if the Lions want Matt Stafford gone and they never want to face him, it's probably an AFC team. Like, if we're being realistic here. So, Indy, to me, seems like the best option. The Colts literally are a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender. We saw they made it to the playoffs with Phillip Rivers, and Matt Stafford's playing at a higher level right now than Phillip Rivers was, and Rivers just retired. And so you add Matt Stafford to the Colts, already to win team that has a elite defense, elite coaching staff, elite offensive line, add a couple weapons on the offense like Matt Stafford on the Colts, that's a Super Bowl team. 49ers as well. I love him with Kyle Shanahan. That would be fun to watch. But again, that's an NFC team. The Bears, again, like I said, the Bears with Matt Stafford, I believe, would be a Super Bowl contender. The question is, would the Lions trade him to a division team? Probably not. It's the same argument that I made with Deshaun Watson getting traded to the Colts. I don't think they want to trade him to a division contender. Washington football team intrigues me as well. They need to add a couple weapons, but that's a ready-to-win now defense. We know Ron Rivera is legit. So Washington would make sense as well. Again, NFC team. Saints with Drew Brees retiring. Oh my goodness, could you imagine Matt Stafford on the Saints? So a lot of these are all NFC teams. The Broncos, the Colts are the 2 AFC teams. And the Broncos, again, Drew Lock is not the answer there. We know that. Again, will the Broncos know that? We don't know yet. But him having no shortage of weapons in Denver and then that defense, oh my goodness. So those are the teams. Again, just to recap for you guys, the Colts, the Broncos, the 49ers, the Bears, the Washington football team, and the Saints, who I believe will be in contention. My top 3, I'm going to go with the Colts at number 1. Number 2, I'm going to go with the 49ers. And at number 3, I'll probably go with the Washington football team with Denver a close 4th there. I'd love to put the Bears in there, guys, but like I said, division team, just don't know if they'd do it. So there you have it, folks. My thoughts on Matt Stafford. wanting out of Detroit. This is crazy. It's going to be a fun-filled offseason. Make sure you're tuned into the channel here all offseason for my latest news and updates. As always, I'll see you guys.